SummerSlam 2019. The Fiend made his in-ring debut against Finn Balor. His entrance was nothing short of mesmerizing, leaving the audience in awe and setting the tone for his character. The Fiend slowly made his way to the ring, with the chilling music and the eerie lighting enhancing the horror movie vibe. Balor was visibly terrified. As the match started, the Fiend used psychological tactics to unnerve Balor. He dominated the entire match before winning with the mandible claw. On the same night, Goldberg squashed Dolph Ziggler in just 1 minute and 50 seconds. He was coming out of that awful match against The Undertaker at Super ShowDown, so this dominant victory was crucial for him to maintain his legendary status. However, what happened next with both The Fiend and Goldberg is still considered to be one of the worst booking decisions in WWE history, ultimately ruining The Fiend character. So what happened? Let's get into it.
Stand back. There's a new wrestling quiz coming through. Check out BrainBuster, the daily quiz that tests your WWE knowledge with winning streaks, stats, and more. It's time to see if you're up for the challenge.
Bray Wyatt appeared on the April 22, 2019 episode of Raw introducing the Firefly Funhouse, which was presented as a twisted children's show with Bray as the host. Wyatt appeared cheerful and friendly, wearing a red sweater and speaking in a soft, welcoming tone. However, the show's eerie undertones and dark humor hinted at something sinister lurking beneath the surface. The segments featured various puppet characters, each representing different aspects of Wyatt's psyche. These included Mercy the Buzzard, Abby the Witch, Rambling Rabbit, and Huskus the Pig Boy. Over several weeks, the Firefly Funhouse segments showcased Wyatt's transformation. He revealed that he learned to control his darkness and introduced the audience to the Fiend, his alter ego. The segments effectively built anticipation, leaving fans eager to see the Fiend in action. Finally, he appeared in the ring in July and attacked Finn Balor, setting his sights on the former Universal Champion. Goldberg, on the other hand, made his return to WWE at Survivor Series 2016 and squashed Brock Lesnar in no time. He then won the Universal Championship from Kevin Owens at Fastlane 2017 and dropped it to Lesnar at WrestleMania 33. Fans thought that this would be his last match, as he appeared the night after WrestleMania, delivering an emotional speech. Although he never mentioned that he would be retiring, many interpreted this as a farewell address. The following year, in 2018, he was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. By the time 2019 rolled around, fans were very much aware that Goldberg was far from the top of his game from an in-ring standpoint. He hadn't competed in 2 years, so his condition was a little more unknown to fans. However, WWE booked a dream match between Goldberg and The Undertaker at Super ShowDown in Saudi Arabia. It fit the billing for a Saudi Arabia event, as those shows were given more money to pay top-level names and part-timers. If the match was kept short, much like Goldberg's previous matches, then it could have been an effective match that didn't outstay its welcome. But things didn't work out that way. As the match started, Goldberg hit 2 spears, starting the match off at an electric pace. However, when he went for a 3rd spear, he hit himself on the ring post, receiving a legitimate concussion. From there, the match fell apart. Goldberg was visibly groggy as The Undertaker executed some moves, including a poorly executed chokeslam. The dead man then delivered a tombstone, where Goldberg's head hit the mat, risking severe neck injury. The match was genuinely scary to watch. Thankfully, it ended when The Undertaker hit another chokeslam and won. To this date, the match is still regarded as one of the worst matches in WWE history. It hurt both their legacies, as they probably didn't want to have this kind of match during the end of their careers. WWE had to rectify the mistake and gave Goldberg another match where he could shine. Enter Dolph Ziggler, who had earned a reputation as a reliable wrestler and could bring a good match out of anyone. He was booked to have a match with Goldberg at SummerSlam. The only reason this was booked was to make Goldberg look good, and Ziggler did exactly that. He jobbed for the WWE Hall of Famer and helped restore Goldberg's mystique. Following this, Goldberg disappeared for a few months. In the meantime, The Fiend started feuding with Finn Balor and tormented him every week before facing him at SummerSlam. During his entrance, the arena plunged into darkness, and an eerie, distorted version of Bray Wyatt's old theme song, Live in Fear, began to play. Emerging from the darkness, The Fiend held a unique lantern fashioned to look like Bray Wyatt's severed head, with an open mouth with the light coming out of it. Moving slowly and deliberately, The Fiend made his way to the ring, with the chilling music and strobe lighting enhancing the horror movie atmosphere. The Fiend dominated the match from the start and toyed with Balor around in the ring. The match ended decisively when he applied the mandible claw to Balor, securing the victory. This dominant performance left no doubt about the Fiend's threat level and established him as a dominant force in WWE. He quickly became one of the most intriguing characters in WWE. It was different than anything anyone was doing at the time. He was not just constructing an isolated character with a new gimmick, he was building his own universe, each part of himself serving as almost an installment of a horror movie franchise. The Firefly Funhouse also added another layer to the Fiend. He became so popular that WWE decided to book him in a feud with the then Universal Champion Seth Rollins. A match between the two was set at Hell in a Cell, which turned out to be one of the most disappointing Hell in a Cell matches of all time. Both wrestlers were at the peak of their careers and WWE was in a booking dilemma, so they ended the match in the worst way possible. Seth delivered his finisher, the curb stomp, on the Fiend one after another, but it didn't work as the Fiend always managed to recover. The referee then stopped the match after Rollins used a sledgehammer on the Fiend. In a match that had already seen both competitors use various weapons, they ended the match this way. The ending left fans scratching their heads. The controversial finish momentarily hurt the Fiend's credibility as well. Fans felt the character was compromised by an unsatisfying and confusing ending. WWE faced significant backlash, forcing them to reassess how to handle the Fiend's character. They needed to restore his mystique and ensure he remained a credible threat. That's why they booked another match between the Fiend and Seth Rollins for the Universal Championship at Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia, where he finally won the championship in a Falls Count Anywhere match. With this, WWE managed to restore much of the Fiend's mystique and booked him strong following this. He feuded with many wrestlers and had an incredible match with Daniel Bryan at Royal Rumble 2020. For all intents and purposes, it looked as though Wyatt was going to go into WrestleMania 36 and defend his gold against Roman Reigns. It was a feud that made sense given that Wyatt was a big, unbeatable heel and Reigns was the ultra babyface challenger who was set to overcome the monster. This is when Goldberg came into the fold. He was thrown into the title scene immediately for a match with Wyatt at Super ShowDown 2020. At first, fans thought this would be a good way to further legitimize Wyatt as a champion, especially on his way to WrestleMania. However, there was a potential for Goldberg to face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania as well. Well, that could have been done without the title being on the line, but WWE did what no one wanted them to do. They let Goldberg beat the Fiend in 3 minutes and 8 seconds, ending his dominant title reign. It came full circle for both the Fiend and Goldberg. The Fiend won the championship in Saudi Arabia a few months ago and lost it in Saudi Arabia, and Goldberg had an awful match with The Undertaker in Saudi Arabia, and now won the championship in the same country. It was certainly interesting to say the least, but no one was happy with the decision. The Fiend had been built up as an unbeatable character, and his loss to Goldberg in a relatively short match undermined that mystique. This decision received significant backlash from fans who felt it damaged the Fiend's credibility. There were rumors that Goldberg did not want to lose to the Fiend and push for the title win, but he shot down those rumors saying, "I'm a talent and I do what the boss tells me to do. I flew to Saudi Arabia knowing that I was going to lose." Then somehow it changed and the finish was different, and it surely wasn't me, because it's an extremely selfish move, number one, to do. Number two, then truly it wouldn't be about the business, it would be about myself. And number three, who the hell am I as a part-time guy to come in and demand anything? It was certainly a controversial match with an unpopular winner, and clearly the reason for it was to book a match between Goldberg and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 36, but that never happened. It was disrupted due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Roman Reigns chose to pull out of WrestleMania to avoid potential exposure to the virus due to the health concerns related to his previous battles with leukemia. With Roman Reigns out, WWE had to adjust their plans quickly. Braun Strowman was then inserted into the match against Goldberg at WrestleMania, where Strowman defeated Goldberg to win the Universal Championship. So, Goldberg beating the Fiend at Super ShowDown became pointless. He could have easily taken the title to WrestleMania and had an even more dominant run. He was one of the most popular wrestlers in the world at the time, and WWE had the perfect chance to make him a legit champion. However, The Fiend had a Firefly Funhouse match against John Cena, which delved into Cena's career, presenting various versions of him from different eras. It was interesting to say the least, but it wasn't enough to bring his credibility back. He did win the Universal Championship from Strowman at SummerSlam 2020, but lost it to Reigns at Payback. He allied with Alexa Bliss and engaged in a feud with Orton, which ultimately concluded the Fiend storyline at WrestleMania 37. A few months later, Wyatt was gone from WWE, but later returned in 2022. Unfortunately, his latest run did not last long, as he passed away in August 2023. It's a shame that we couldn't see more of the Fiend. Maybe if Goldberg had not beaten him, we could have gotten a longer, more entertaining run from the Fiend, but with that loss, the damage was done and the Fiend never recovered.